Hello there guys and girls! Welcome to another tutorial of mine. Today I bring you even more exclusive knowledge and a download that you won't get anywhere else on YouTube or the public internet for that matter. As you've seen from the intro, this is gonna get pretty wild and escalate quickly. As always, any support is much appreciated. So check out my Patreon for exclusive benefits like Discord access, early downloads, secret streams and tons of behind the scenes footage. My patrons already saw a lot of these cool things in action during an exclusive stream, so if you don't want to miss out, go to patreon.com/Vanova. Alright, let's not drag this out for too long and start with the installation. No, we don't really need a transition for that, man. All you gotta do is to click the download link in the video description and unzip it like I did at your mother's place before she got morbidly obese. In the download you will find a modified version of Menu PC. Well, actually you get to choose between two files here. One menu version contains almost 1000 effects in the list, but they are sorted alphabetically and the list isn't curated. The other file has only about 500 effects, but they are neatly sorted into categories. Also, broken entries and duplicates are removed from the list there. For the tutorial we'll be working with this one. Then you go to the main directory of GTA 5 and back up your original menu.asi file just to be sure and be able to revert if anything goes wrong. Now, just copy the ASI you chose into said folder. Done. Yes, it's that easy, just like your sister. You see that? I dissed your whole family in under a minute. I know, I missed your dad, but so do you, cause he left long ago. Credit for this custom menu build goes out to Nerox and his crew, who created it. They did all the hard work. I just helped translate the effect categories from Russian to English and identified some more effects that would be useful for machinima production. And special thanks to my buddy Sergio1969 who shared the files with me in the first place, and thereby inspiring this whole tutorial once again. Let's move on.
Using the effects.
After booting up the game, you will find the trigger effects in the same place as before in menu. If you don't know where that is, you should definitely watch my menu tutorial, man, because that's basic stuff. So, in short, you can activate these effects through the object's properties here. But instead of just 64 entries, there are now 500 of them. They are neatly sorted into 14 different categories, which you can see on screen right now. Some contain a lot, others only a few effects. With this, it will be easy to find something useful for your scenes. But actually, there's a better way to use or abuse these effects. And that's through task sequences. If you don't know what that is, you must watch my tutorial on that. Yep, I've covered almost every aspect of this game when it comes to machinima. For trigger effects, the first thing you need is anything. It can be a pad, an object, or a vehicle. Doesn't matter at all. However, before you spawn anything, think about what you want to do first. Do you want a certain visible object and enhance it with an effect? For example, a barrel with an oil leak. Of course, then you have to search for and spawn that particular object you have in mind. Or do you want just the standalone effect, like a cloud of smoke or some magic alien effects? In this case, it doesn't matter which object you spawn, but I recommend a small one with easy to understand dimensions, like a lipstick, a fire extinguisher or whatever. This is also because the trigger effects are by default always spawned from the center of the object. If the object is larger than the effect, you might not see what it does until you make the object invisible. After spawning an object, you just go to its properties and select task sequence, add new, and then trigger effects down here. Doing that through a task sequence like this gives you a bunch of neat advantages. You can set an interval for the effect, you can change the size of the effect, change the position of the effect relative to the object, let the effect start automatically, let the effect loop, and chain multiple effects together. I feel like I'm gonna say the word effect far too many times in this video. Okay, so with these settings of any trigger FX task, you can easily alter many things. To get it out of the way and to crush your hopes, color does not mean that you can change the shade of the effects themselves. This is just for this little sphere here. I recommend a very bright color here because it helps adjust the relative position of the effects. This works just like when you are attaching props to other objects by changing the X, Y, Z dimensions as well as pitch, roll and yaw. For the latter three variables, I recommend setting the scroll sensitivity to 1.0 or 10.0 to get those precise 45 or 90 degree angles quickly. A very powerful option is the size here, because you can upscale effects massively. The default is 0.8 for some reason. During my tests, many of the effects looked good even at 10 times or larger magnification. I did expect the effects to get pixelated or distorted at some point, but especially particle-based effects are a lot of fun if you ramp them up. I don't know if there's a limit. I tried 100, which took forever to scroll to since you can't enter a number here. The end result, however, was... The setting play only once means that the effect will not be repeated. However, since task sequences loop, it will play over and over again without time delay. If you really want it to play only once, you can add the task and sequence here, which stops the endless loop. If play once is inactive, you can set an interval at which the effect should be played. This can be very interesting for creative scenes. I will demonstrate this more in just a minute. But before we get into the practical side of things, there's a number of theoretical things you need to understand about these effects to work with them effectively.
Theory and tricks.
In this chapter I want to give you some tips and tricks that will make your life much easier when working with these effects. And we definitely have to talk about the duration and interval settings. The difference between these two can be tricky to understand. Basically, duration means for how long the effect will be played as a part of the task sequence. And the interval means how often the effect will be triggered during that duration. Let me explain with a few examples. If you have a duration of 4 seconds and an interval of 0.5, the effect will be triggered a total of 8 times. However, since task sequences loop, it goes back to the start right away. To demonstrate, let's add end sequence again here. Now we can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Sequence ended. Let's remove the end sequence task. It gets really interesting once you change the duration so it is not a multiple of the interval value. So with 1.2 and 0.5 respectively, you get an interesting rhythmic pattern. Because after just 1.2 seconds, the next loop of the task sequence starts. This could be useful for dance club scenes where you need some freaky lighting. If, however, the interval value is greater than the duration value, the effect will only be played once per loop. So, if you want your effect to happen every 3 seconds, you need to set both values to 3 seconds. And of course you can also follow one trigger effects task by another one on the same object. The logic stays the same, but it allows for cool effects, which you will see later in the video. Scrolling through a list with 500 entries surely isn't fun. There's also no search feature available because it is an unofficial modification of an unofficial modification of a video game. Yeah. So, firstly, you should learn the abbreviations used in the list to get an idea for what each effect does. Each of the categories I've shown earlier has a bunch of effects with different names and abbreviations. More details here. You should definitely screenshot this because understanding these code bits will make it easier for you to find the right kind of effect in the long list. Once you have found a cool effect, I highly recommend that you write down its name. You can do that on a piece of paper, but if you don't want to be responsible for trees dying, Just do it in Notepad++ or something. In addition, you should add the category and number of said effect, which you can see down on the right corner. That way you can scroll through the list really fast to find the right entries. I suggest adding some short description in order to easily remember what idea you had in mind. So for instance, 375, muzzle flashes as the category, then the name, MUZ XM Khanjali Railgun, and then description is looks like a beam of energy at interval 0.0 and any size. By the way, once you have spawned an object with a trigger effects task sequence, you can easily copy it and move it around without having to recreate all of these settings. Secondly, you have to be aware that some of these effects are very performance hungry and may crash your game. Like I said, if you make a task sequence, it loops indefinitely, creating many instances of the chosen effect. For something short like this muzzle flash, it doesn't make a difference, but look at this large explosion. It spawns over and over, and since this effect goes on for pretty long, it layers multiple instances of it. This is why for trying out different effects, you should set the duration and interval to something like 3 to 5 seconds each. This will prevent the game from crashing. In any case, you should save your menu map in short intervals to not lose too much progress when building a scene. If you want multiple effects on the same object to start at the same time, it is best to create multiple invisible objects for that. This is especially handy with larger objects like a car shooting a big flame out of both exhaust pipes. By the way, when you work with fire effects, you should make the vehicle invincible or it will be damaged and explode eventually. As you can see in the task sequence, the first flame needs to burn for like 3.5 seconds before the next starts. So instead of putting the tasks directly onto the car, you just spawn one object like this lipstick, then place it roughly in the correct position near the exhaust. Then attach it to the vehicle. Now you can create the task sequence with the flame. The settings need some changing to avoid too much layering of the effect here. And then finally you make the attached object invisible and adjust its position a little more in the attachment options. For the second exhaust, you can just easily copy the first object and change the placement in the attachment options too. In order to start both flames at the same time, you go to Edit Multiple Entities, mark the two lipsticks and then stop and start their task sequences. Now both of these flames shoot out the back at the same time. Just like when you had too much Mexican food. You can easily change the positions and angles of any effect while recording your footage. This can give you some cool results like our energy beam leaving particles of itself in a circular motion. Or a mysterious cloud of smoke roaming the area. Note that I am changing the relative position of the effect, not the position of the object itself. If you want not only the effect but also the object to move around, you can see what happens here. The particles are moved along with the object instead of leaving this nice trail. In this case, you can just do as follows. Duplicate the object, attach the copy to the original object, and deactivate its collision. Then also deactivate or delete the task sequence on the original object and finally move it around. This way the particles leave a trail. Now it looks like a burning football flying around. It even gets more interesting once you give this ball an achieve velocity task, because that way it will actually curve and leave a smoke trail behind itself. One last tip: when filming some of these effects, you need to be careful, because not all of them emit real particles. Instead, they are 2D sprites that do this when you rotate the camera around them. Moving towards or away from the effect also looks bad, because the 2D sprites will rotate along to always face the camera at a 90-degree angle. Also, they do kinda pixelate at larger sizes.
Creative examples.
Now for the best part of this entire video. When I first experimented with these effects in my Patreon exclusive stream, I had so many ideas that my head was almost bursting with new movie concepts or cool shots that would be totally unique in any machinima. You will now see the name of the effect as well as the settings displayed on screen. However, you're gonna need some know-how about task sequences. You're once again invited to watch my other tutorial, as I won't explain every detail about this here. I want to make one thing very clear. I am showing you all of those ideas before ever using them in one of my own videos. Other creators would never do that and keep the knowledge for themselves, but I do not want to gatekeep any of this. I want to inspire you. If you would credit me for that, I would be very grateful, because I've been doing this for years now, for free. So, how about a laser security system that needs to be breached by your character? You could even make those lasers move around with a task sequence. Or you could make it a tactical laser from an automated weapon system or a sniper. Or shooting lasers from the eyes. Next idea. A weird alien place with energy beams all over the place. The flickering lighting of this effect is insanely cool. Earlier, when I was talking about duration and intervals, I said you can place more than one trigger effects task on the same object. Well, here's an example for something mundane. Water coming from a damn faucet, and then it dynamically changes to blood. I would have needed this years ago for my video Halloweenception. This next effect here can be a really cool flashbang effect if you scale it up a little, because it lights up the surroundings. With multiple of these effects you can create a convincingly bright flash. And will you look at this crazy red smoke effect where a character emerges like a total villain? With some more light, this looks absolutely insane. Another cool idea is using this door breach explosion and actually scale it down a lot. Then you duplicate this object, add a nothing task with a 0.5 seconds delay at the start and reposition it. Rinse and repeat for multiple charges going off in short succession. Or just use this explosion effect for a huge shockwave moving through the city. This footage is slowed down to 20%, which creates the illusion that the explosion is actually large.
Outro.
Alright now, guys and girls, I really hope you enjoyed this creative tutorial and the exclusive benefit that comes with these additional effects. Please share, comment and like my content, because the YouTube algorithm seems to hate me a lot lately. If you have any creative ideas for effects, you can post them in the comments so other people in the community can use them as well. Thank you for watching and stay tuned.
Wynova over.